how this forecasting method is different from other data analysis method. This forecasting method is like a time-based method. So it look into your historical data, and based on that, it tries to predict what is going to happen in the future. So like it looks into your historical sales, and based on that, it can predict like what is going to happen in the next year or something. It's very quantitative. It give you like numbers. It's not qualitative like sales going up or sales going down. It's it's like a very like a quantitative features, and also it's future oriented. So always forecasting is like a how many ahead. So if you want to forecast like a sales, then you should say like a how much ahead of sales you're forecasting. Are you forecasting 7 day ahead sales, or 6 months ahead sales, or 2 years ahead sales? Again, like how much ahead you are looking into the sales, that also gives you the uncertainty in the sales. For example, like if I have 2 years of data and I would like to like estimate or predict how much sales is going to happen next week, maybe the error bar would be like 3%. But if I would like to predict like how much sales is going to be in 1 year after this, then the error bar would be like at 12 or 13%. Because if the time window increases, there is like a more and more uncertainty. Lots of things can happen. So another thing is like it projects. So like that's what I said. Like it projects, it forecasts like how this thing's going to happen in the future, and also gives like some error bar. Like it's 95% sure the value stands between this range. And forecasting, it's not simplified method. It use lots of different statistical method to generate prediction, and there's like a lot of discussion, and I might take like maybe 2 weeks of course on just what are the statistical method used for forecasting and how they can be applicable. And why forecasting is important. Forecasting is not only important for Power BI, it's important for any BI tools. And if I like I increase the premise, and it importance for data scientists, it is very important for machine learning engineer. So every data scientist or analyst, they look for insights into the data, and using the insight data, they want to predict something. So predict can be like a maybe simple classification, but if it is time series data, then it comes into the forecasting. Like you want to forecast what's going to happen, and forecast is very important. So we're talking about a lot of sales, forecasting in sales, then forecasting also important in like marketing. So like if you want to run a marketing campaign, then you want to forecast like is your marketing campaign is going to cost like X amount data, then think about like how much benefit you are going to get from the X amount of data. So if you do a marketing, how much it will boost your website traffic or other things. So forecast that, and based on that, like you can see like how much your forecast is match with the actual. Then inventory management. Think about like a Walmart or other warehouses. So they have to forecast like how much of this particular product is going to need it for next 1 week or next 3 days. Based on that, they have to do inventory management or this type of things. So that's why like a forecasting is very important and very crucial part of data science and machine learning, as well as in the data analysis. So yeah, there's like a multiple forecasting method exist. So Power BI employs some of the example. So one of them is called exponential smoothing. There is also linear regression, ARIMA, and you can build some advanced model as well. And you can bring some Python script to build some algorithm as well. So let's talk about exponential smoothing. So what exponential smoothing does, real world data is like very noisy. So exponential smoothing is a technique. It applies an exponential function to like smooth your time series data so that it reduces the variance using the weighted moving average. That way, like you can identify the actual trend rather than noise. So like when you model any data or something, you want to model the trend rather than actual noise. So it will find out the what is the moving average. And it's not a simple moving average, it's like an exponential moving average. Weight factor decrease exponentially with the function of the time. The second one is linear regression. Linear regression, let's say you have some variable that is correlated with some other variables. For example, you run a e-commerce site and your e-commerce site sales is directly correlated with number of people coming to your website, what is the age of the people, and all these things. So you made a model using all these variables. So number of the people coming in your website, what is their age range, how many clicks they have done. So all different variable making it up, and you use a linear regression to predict your sales. So yeah, this type of model can you do. So based on the historical model, you can predict like what is going to happen the sales on the in the horizon, like the next 7 days or 1 month. So linear regression is a very powerful tool, but it has some condition has to be made. So one thing is like the variables that you are using to build the linear regression model has to be independent of each other. There is no collinearity between them, and they also have some linear relationship with the like the value you would like to predict. So those are some of the things you have to make sure that exist in the linear regression model. Otherwise, the model output would be wrong. So again, linear regression is like a very powerful tool, very useful in data science, machine learning, data analytics, and it's like a vast topic. So I will just touch a little touch on it. So maybe if time permits, we'll talk about it like in later part. Then another very important tool for time series is called ARIMA. And there is like a multiple version of ARIMA. It's a very powerful tool. So ARIMA stands for auto-regressive integrated moving average. So it has the regression part using moving average. So it's there is like a lot of things you can do ARIMA and very powerful tool. Sometimes I feel like ARIMA feels short when the data frequency is like a very small. And also another shortcoming of ARIMA is like